I guess we just better start. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin.
I'm the Cholo Nerd.
And this is our spoiler talk for Avengers Endgame. So if you haven't seen it yet, and tickets are all sold out and all that stuff, I'm telling you up front, we are going to dive into this movie piece by piece and spoil it like crazy. If you don't mind that, stick around. If you've already seen the movie, stick around. You don't want spoilers, this is your moment to turn away, but put us in that watch later thing and come back after the movie, because this is going to be an epic conversation for an epic movie. All right, so A+.
Oh yeah, guaranteed A++.
One of my biggest expectations for this movie is I wanted to be glued to the screen for the full 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was. How about you?
I was attached from the moment they started the like silence your cell phone.
Yes.
They did this Avengers one and it was pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet.
So after that moment, I was already locked in. I was kind of sitting like this, like just preparing the whole time, like anything can happen.
Yes. And it was just such an excellent story that they picked for this movie. I went in very nervous about the idea of, first big spoiler, time travel. I know that was our big theory in our theory video, that it was going to be time travel. We were 100% correct. We weren't the only ones that held that theory, so it's not like we're total geniuses. It's just, we were right about that, and everybody else who said it was right, because, it's just kind of obvious. How else do you bring that all back? But I was really kind of scared with time travel. But I thought they did it so good.
They did. But, just to start back, to the beginning of the movie, they try to set a heavy presence. And they kind of spoil. Everybody knew Clint's family had died and why he was Ronin. So that part, you don't feel it's not as heavy.
What we see in the trailer, the bow and arrow, happy family.
Yeah.
We know it's got to end. I mean, what else turns him into Ronin? What else turns him into this scary, crazy, murdering guy?
He's chopping and dicing people like the Punisher, It was great. But that part I didn't feel so much. But the part that because, it's a heavy movie. It's got all these little moments that make you tear up and stuff, but they started instantly.
Yes.
Well, if you didn't see a trailer about that, you would have felt Clint Barton's, his pain.
Yeah.
You didn't. But Ant-Man, when he gets back into the world, it's 5 years later, and he sees his daughter for the first time in 5 years. He doesn't know. It feels like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or 5 hours, I think.
Yeah, 5 hours for him, 5 years for the world.
Yeah, so he thought it was 5 hours, but then he sees his daughter expecting to see a little kid, and she's grown up.
Yeah. That was tough. And they didn't really show us, if the daughter's mom was alive or anything like that, but at least by the end of the movie, another spoiler, that they're back, but it was just... Mm-hmm. Gosh, for her to come out and be an adult and find him, that was a really, really good moment. So the way the movie opened with all that stuff was just incredible. It's kind of convenient, but I called it Captain Marvel finding Tony Stark in space.
That one was a huge theory going on, and yeah, you were correct, 100% correct. I was hoping she wouldn't find him. I was kind of hoping, they find their way back themselves. Well, that's fine.
Well,
I was glad Tony's alive and well.
It's a 3-hour movie, and let's get this thing going. And it was, you could be a little disappointed with how quick that went, but do you really want a space odyssey of Tony and Nebula stranded in space, or do you want them home and get the Avengers stuff going? Yeah. And that's what I wanted. I wanted them home, and I wanted the Avengers stuff going. So when Captain Marvel showed up there in space and found Tony and Nebula in the ship and carried that back and landed it right there outside that Avengers facility, I was like, okay, thank God that's over. He's back. We're past it. I'm excited to move on to where we're going.
I'll give them credit. They made Tony look weak. I liked it.
Oh, they did.
He looked like he really was
He looked like he fought that infection, needed food,
And so I give him so much credit on that. And I was thinking, as soon as that happened, and he got really, really witty and smart aleck with Cap, because I don't blame him. He's upset.
Yeah.
They lost, and this is the first time they're seeing each other since Civil War.
But great callback to Age of Ultron to show the resentment that built the Civil War and how that resentment was still there. It was me who wanted a suit of armor around the world. It was you who said, if we lose, then we'll do that together. And guess what? We lost.
And they did.
And it was, first off, like, it's mean, but at the same time, it's like, I get it, though. Yeah. Everybody's dead. He lost Peter Parker, his ward, the kid that he's mentoring. He lost Peter. For all he knew before he got back, he had lost Pepper. I mean, my gosh.
He had no idea who was gone or what. Like, he had no idea what to expect getting back to Earth, for sure.
Yeah.
Because all he got to see is people around him on Titan disappear.
Yeah.
So who knows when he gets home? Like, he had, I don't, he's totally messed up in the head.
Yeah.
For something like that. But, oh, jeez. Tony, man, he was so pissed.
Yeah, he was.
And he had that, like, Thor type of moment. Like, he was scared.
Yeah.
He lost enough. He was done.
Yep.
That was kind of tough to see Tony that way because he's always witty. He's got a game plan always floating in there,
But that was a powerful moment for his character, which made his choice to do the time travel later even more powerful. So, like, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing Tony not being himself anymore. Weak, skinny, hungry, angry. And so it was interesting to come to that side. And then they lighten a little bit. They get in Quill's ship. And, right before they warp, you have Rocket. Now, who here's been to space?
I love that part. Don't throw up on my ship.
Yes.
I was like, oh.
Did you see Steve Rogers, like, right before they hit the warp thing, he just clinched right up?
Yeah.
Dude, that would have been me. Like, I mean, I do that on a roller coaster. I can't imagine what it'd be like on a ship about to jettison into the darkness of space. Oh, my gosh. That was good.
I love that they were ripping on Captain America's butt. Like, guy's got himself a nice butt, and they're, like, ripping jokes on it. And then he sees himself, like, yeah.
Yes. That was really great.
Oh, that was so great.
Oh, my gosh. So you predicted that there was going to be multiple encounters with Thanos.
Yes.
You were kind of right.
Kind of.
Because when they jettisoned to his planet and they found him because he destroyed the stones with the stones, and Thor cuts off his head, this time he goes for the head, that was their first encounter, and it was like nothing.
That was pretty gnarly, though. The head cutting was like, oh, dang. Like, but it tells you how smart Thanos is.
Yeah.
He's not going to undo it. He's not going to risk anybody coming for him and undoing his hard work. He knows that people are going to gun for him now. He knows people are going to probably find him eventually.
Yep.
Destroying those stones is pretty ballsy.
No. And he's a smart guy. Like, we were talking about it in the car. One of the things that's interesting about what this movie did, especially for Thanos, is not just show his strength, but show his smartness. Because even before he had the power of the Infinity Stones, like you said, he's already been conquering worlds. So he's brilliant. Yeah. And so that was kind of cool. And he didn't even blink in the face of death when Thor cut off his head.
No, not at all.
So we cut to 5 years later.
We cut 5 years later.
And that was kind of powerful. People in our theater gasped when it went 5 years later. But I have to say, for all the heaviness that this movie had, and this movie is heavy, and for me personally, and I think for you too, it hit harder than Infinity War. It ended happier, but it hit harder. Yeah. But it had that Marvel humor that we love. Because why don't you tell us, Cholo Nerd, your thoughts when we saw Thor for the first time?
Oh, Thor. The first thing I thought was like, oh. Boys fell in love with pizza and beer, okay?
Yes.
I mean,
he was a big boy.
He got a little chubby there.
He quit taking care of himself. Yes.
Oh, I freaking loved that moment. I was like, cool, they're gonna go get Thor, and I assumed a little, like he's gonna fight back a little bit because I'm assuming he's still a little butthurt.
Yeah,
but
I would be.
I did not see him gaining all this weight playing video games.
Yes.
He watches cable with Korg and Meek.
Yes, that was also nice to bring back the Ragnarok characters to be like, okay, they all didn't die, they went into space, they got them, and they put new Asgard here on Earth, and half the Earth's population gone. No government is fighting.
Korg in his like Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
Korg was wearing like this like total bro shirt and he's got his pods on. He's playing video games.
What about Thor's great big hero moment in this scene? Standing up to that guy, you get off this game right now or I'll fly over your house and thunderbolt you.
Even better. Huge shout out. So the other day they dropped on Fortnite the Avengers package so you can play it for a couple days. And they show it he's playing Fortnite. So Fortnite exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And 5 years later, people are still playing it. But of course, there's probably like half the game developers, so yeah, it's probably still around.
Yeah, it's still around. And good to know, yeah. And yeah, I was loving that.
That was
Avengers
really cool.
Fortnite on the Avengers
man.
Movie. That is amazing. So, sorry.
That's cool.
I started cracking. I was like, good job.
When we first came across Banner Hulk, oh my goodness.
So you see this like mountain of food, and it's all the Hulks, and just seeing the Hulk and his clothes.
Yes.
And what do you say? He's like, wear clothes now, or something like that. And that.
But you know, what a good outlook for Banner. I mean, we've been through, so Incredible Hulk is canon in this MCU. So we go through this dark Edward Norton Hulk, go through all the stuff we've been through with Mark Ruffalo, and now finally he sees Hulk as the cure and not the disease. And now here's this nerdy, hilarious, smart Hulk.
One of my favorite moments too is these kids want to take a photo with Hulk. And Scott Lang's there's like, hey, you guys want to take a photo with me? You know, Ant-Man? And they're like, no, just looking around. He's like, Ant-Man. He's like, oh, he wants you to take a photo. Oh, they don't want, you know, he kind of wants it. You know, he wants to get taken. That one little kid's like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's just so true though, because for me, as I've been getting into Marvel, watching Marvel the animated series for the first time, watching the MCU, I could have cared less about Ant-Man until we got the Scott Lang that we got. Now, I could have cared less. So that scene was just hysterical to me because it like represented my true feelings. Like, I don't care about Ant-Man.
Yeah, he's still like the tiniest Avenger in size. He's still the tiniest Avenger in everybody's hearts.
Yes.
Does a lot of good in this movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, he's been at the least important Avenger because he's technically not an Avenger. He just fought against the Avengers and stuff, but it was great. It was a great moment. He thought he was a little, you know, A-type celebrity, and he was still like a Z. But oh, dude, that part almost had me in tears laughing.
Now, did you like the lack of Captain Marvel, or did you want to see more Captain Marvel?
I kind of liked. Well, I don't know. Okay, so Captain Marvel shows up. I didn't like how she showed up.
Right, when she saves Tony and brings him back.
Well, no, not so much that part. I take that back. I'm sorry. If you haven't seen this yet, you'll understand why.
We're scatterbrained trying to pull it together.
We literally just drove from the theater and started recording right now. So, like, we are all messed up in the head. Like, no joke. So, we're a little scatterbrained. But no, not so much that part. But when she's there talking with the Avengers.
Yes.
And she's acting tough, you know, saying, you know, well, there's other planets. And I get that Captain Marvel's powerful. She's awesome. She's amazing.
Yep.
But I don't like how they just went to Thanos' place, like, killed him, like, no big deal, you know.
Right.
And then she's like, well, I gotta go. I got other things to do. It was like...
And then she's gone.
Like, it was almost better that she just showed up at the last moment. I feel like her showing up at the last moment would have been a little bit more powerful.
That's true. I mean, the important thing, though, about her showing up in that beginning, because you're right, it's kind of weak, and they did not utilize her in the beginning other than to save Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But I think the important part of that was to establish her becoming an Avenger, because when they cut 5 years later... And you have Black Widow on the, you know, I was going to say the phone. Clearly it's not a phone. The hologram walls. And, you know, they're talking to Captain Marvel with her new fancy haircut.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so she's an Avenger. And she's the Avenger representative out there in outer space.
Somewhere, yeah.
Which then makes sense when she comes back in the final battle at the end, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought they used her well. Yeah. I kind of agree with you. Underuse in the beginning. But... the way they used her in the end was pretty darn good. It was
awesome, yeah. It was like that, you know, closing the gap scenario, like this ends here type of moment. But, oh man, dude, just it's so heavy. So after she like leaves and, you know, like what I liked is it's 5 years later and the world didn't evolve. The world still was standing still.
Well, yeah. It's not going to move. How can it? Half the population is gone.
And I love that part of it because, you know, Thanos' theory may have worked on Gamora's planet or whatever other planets he destroyed, but not when you just wipe them like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that people were expecting, you know, like it wasn't a war that did this. It was a snap and then people were just sitting there and then they're gone. And so and Earth was probably not the only planet. I think all of like the universe just stood still after that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like what do you do? Like your kid's there and your kid's gone, you know. Your wife's there and she's gone, you know, stuff like that. But
And they did a good job showing us that devastation in the movie. And not just, like, the physical fallout, but the emotional toll that it's taken, like, not just on the Avengers, but the world. So I feel like they did a really good job. And one of the things that I liked, Captain Steve Rogers is, like, the Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is in some way a basket case, and you know Steve was too.
Yeah.
But that guy can hold it together, and that's not the serum. That is not the serum is only his physical strength.
Yeah.
He has been able to mentally hold it together for 5 years to start support groups, and then when the whole time travel thing becomes a reality, he's ready to go back to war. I mean, like, of all the characters, I love Captain America. I love
amazing in this movie.
Chris Evans is just perfect as that character, but the strength that character exhibited by not having some kind of weird, funny quirk like the Hulk or Thor, but just showing his strength to keep it together.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was incredible.
I loved how you said, like, he's counseling other people, and Bucky was his best friend. Like, he loved Bucky, and he got to see in front of his face him die.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to hold it together because someone has to be strong in this, and he's Captain America, you know? And he does such a fantastic job in it. I like how he's trying to add some humor about making a sandwich, and then, you know, Black Widow's not having it. She's not mentally prepared at all. She's not in the mood for jokes anymore, you know. It's been 5 years, and she's gone nowhere with this. Now she's trying to track Ronin, stuff like that, but, jeez. Captain America got a A+++ in this movie for... Jeez, his acting was amazing. It was spot on. He is the pinnacle of Captain America, just like Tony Stark is the pinnacle of Iron Man. Like, holy crap! Like, Chris Evans, bro.
Yeah, it was great last run, Chris Evans. The other one I really liked, and I was surprised, was Nebula. I mean, I always liked Nebula, but man, to have this future version of Nebula who was grown and evolved, then she faces the past version of herself. Like the 2014 version, the evil one that is not grown and evolved, and that one wanting to be stubborn and unevolved and have her, you know, father's goodwill and your father to be proud of her, and then the new one that is above that now and doesn't need that anymore. It was cool to see those two Nebulas confront each other, and the actress just did awesome playing it that way. I mean, she went right back in time to 2014 and continued forward where we left off. It was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments in this movie. Should we get to it?
Let's get to it.
Let's
do this.
So, all of a sudden, you know, Nebula goes to Vormir. Or no, the other place where the Power Stone was. I already forgot the name of it. There's so many things going on. And when she, like, drops off...
Hawkeye and Black Widow take the ship away and leave War Machine and Nebula.
It messes with Nebula... From that time.
Yeah, the quantum entanglement.
And so it's like, okay. So all of a sudden Thanos is catching on to something and he gets a hold of their plan. So it's like, okay, we need to go somewhere. Like, let's see what's going on. And you kind of
called that too, like in our theory video.
Like, but what I loved about that, like, it shows you how intelligent Thanos is. He recognized, all right, something's going on. What's the plan? I'm not an idiot.
Yep.
And he figured it out. He's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, that was really
powerful. You want a piece of me,
powerful.
Old man? Yeah. You're going to get the whole thing, you know, but one of my favorite moments was when Thanos showed up.
Yes.
And...
Oh, yeah, when he showed up in the future? I mean, the present?
Oh, my gosh. So this whole movie, like, it starts off really slow, but it's good. It's for a reason. The second part is the plan. The third part is, like, holy crap.
Yes.
Holy crap. Like, it's insane. So I love the moment where Thanos shows up and he's just chilling there, just sitting down, you know, takes his helmet off, and Thor's just staring at him. Then Iron Man and Captain America walk up, says it's a trap. I don't care.
And he calls both hammers to himself.
And I was like, oh. I was hoping for that too. I was like, what if he brought Mjolnir back? How awesome would that be? Stormbreaker and Mjolnir at the same time?
Yes.
And what I liked about it, it showed you how bad Thanos was. He whooped on all three of them.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was a good fight, but he still whooped on all three. Oh yeah.
Like, and this was a pre-Infinity Stones Thanos.
Yeah.
And he was able to whoop on Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Gosh, I gotta see this movie again.
one of my favorite moments is too, like, he's just whooping on, like, and then, like, Thor, who is freakishly strong, like, Hulk level
and super
strength,
fat.
And he's fat now because he likes pizza and beer, you know. And I like when he tries to hit him with Stormbreaker and Thanos gets it and, like, beats him down with it because, you know, Stormbreaker doesn't have a curse on it.
Right.
So anybody can lift Stormbreaker if you're strong enough.
Right.
You know? And I like how he's just implanting it in his chest. And, like, Thor's, like, fighting him with all his strength.
Oh, it was like the reverse of
like,
Infinity War.
And you see it just starting to slice through. And it's like, he's going to put it through. I thought Thor was going to die there. I was like, oh, man.
I thought, I didn't know if he was going to die there, but you knew something had to break.
And then, so let me say something.
Say it.
Every movie, we talked about this in the
Yes.
car. Every movie has that one moment that gets you, like, fired up and amped up. For me and you and probably all the world, the first Avengers movie was the Hulk.
Yes.
And he says the famous line,
I'm always angry.
The second one was when Vision shows up, grabs Mjolnir, and everybody's like, oh, like in the theater, like that was that moment.
Yes.
Right? In Age of Ultron, at least for me.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic moment in Age of Ultron.
And then in Infinity War, it was like really early in the movie when Iron Man shows up and Black Dwarf's like running at him, and he's like,
yeah,
boom, in his suit, cause like the introduction of that bad, awesome suit.
Yes.
That was, and then the cannons come out, bam! Like that was that moment for me. So in this movie, is in that moment where Thor is getting that axe pushed into his chest, like it's going in, and Thanos gets hit with Mjolnir, but Thor didn't call Mjolnir. Captain America did, and it comes into his hand. I literally screamed, and I almost jumped out of the seat, and like so did like the whole theater was like, oh, and I was like slapping the pole in front of me. I'm glad there was nobody sitting there. I would have probably broke their head.
Yeah.
I was like literally, pop. I was like, oh, like I was freaking out. I was like, I'm freaking out, man.
It was like one of the best scenes. And then what was even cooler is he's wielding the shield and Mjolnir. So he would toss his shield, toss Mjolnir, and they would bounce off each other. And oh my gosh, it was incredible.
Amazing.
Leading to one of my favorite moments where they switch axes for a moment. And he's like, no, wait, give me, Thor's like, give me that one back and you take Mjolnir. That was great.
I like this, the Thor likes Stormbreaker better. You know?
Yes.
That's his new powerful axe.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, all of that was so good to see Captain America wield that. My favorite moment in this movie has to have been after they were all whooped on by Thanos, before this awesome thing we just talked about, right before that scene. Oh, no, it's after. No, it's before. I need to see this movie again.
Oh, yeah. Like
anyway,
5 times.
Captain America is down. All of the army of Thanos arrives, and he says, what I'm going to do to your world, I'm really going to enjoy it. And Captain America stands up, hurting, injured, tightens that shield.
Half chopped up shield.
And he goes to take it alone. Like, he knows he's going to lose, but just the idea that he didn't know the backup that was coming, that he was just not going to stop fighting, and that he just stood right back up. I wish he said his famous line, I can do this all day. He didn't, but I wish he did. But either way, it was just as epic to have his, earpiece crackle, and then it be Sam back. Cap. To your left. Winter Soldier callback. Soldier callback.
On your left, baby. And I like that moment, too, because, Cap's face is all busted, because he took a pounding, and he knows he's about to die. It's like he faced Thanos before, and it did not go well.
Yes.
Thanos, hit him, and then he just, was down, and next thing you know, his buddy's dead.
Yep.
So that moment, like you said, on your left or whatever, and then
that was
you
good.
see the portal open, and my man, the king of Wakanda himself, Black Panther, he's back in the game, and then everybody else is back in the game.
Yes.
And I liked it because it looked like it was about to be a one-sided pounding with an army and very few people there. Oh. And then it was leveled out, because it wasn't just...
No, it was Wakanda.
It was everybody, because he didn't just get rid of half of, the Avengers and everybody. It was the world. Yeah. So Doctor Strange already had everybody ready, and he's like, "Let's go." So there was an army coming back for Thanos. So for once, it was an even playing field.
And then to have Captain America say, "Avengers, assemble!" When they all assemble. Oh my!
We've been waiting for 10 years for Captain freaking America to say, "Avengers, a symbol.
And he said it in the most epic way that he could have possibly
And a tear almost came out of my eye at that moment. Oh, jeez, I was so happy.
I want to get into some more tears in a second. But let's talk about time travel because I think we can hit time travel really, really fast.
Yes,
I liked how they did time travel.
I did too.
Yes, I liked the suits that they created, how they worked with Scott Lang and Hank Pym's technology. And I liked the fact that the stakes were high because they only had limited Pym particle, so they couldn't afford to make mistakes. So, of course, they made constant mistakes, which made the stress level rise up so much. But it's like they made it clear what they were going to do. We have to take these stones. We have to bring them to our time. We have to undo the snap because I like the stakes that Tony had a little daughter and he was married to Pepper.
He had a lot to lose, though.
And so now it's not just we need to restore what was taken. We can't change history. So we have to let history be history because I want my wife and I want my child, the brightest spot in my life. And so the way they upped the stakes with time travel, that you can't just X-Men Days of Future past this, made it all the more stressful. And the logic of, we're going to get the stones, we're going to take them, we're going to use them, then we're going to put them all back in place so things will unfold as they did in the MCU.
Yeah.
Now it's time travel, so that created a lot of problems, I think.
That created a lot of problems, and the first problem was like, well, actually, let me go back to some. So the thing that I loved about the time travel in this movie, this is Endgame. This was like the final chapter of the Avengers. Going back into time travel was like paying homage to what got us here. Like, it was like a great way to say.
And I felt that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And the theater was we had a great crowd. Like, they were like
our
cheering.
Crowd applauded every time period they went to.
It was awesome. Like, because that's exactly what I saw. I was like, we went back to Avengers, the first attack. You know, and
we even redeemed Thor: The Dark World and went back to that and made that awesome.
And oh man, it was like a great tribute movie. Like,
it was. And that was seriously the best part of the time travel and kind of helped me to ease up.
Yeah.
Now there are like plot holes because so our Thanos from Infinity War got his head cut off by Thor. Then the Thanos from Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 was the Thanos who figured out all of this stuff and time traveled to the future. So it was the Thanos of the past that got killed, which meant then from 2014 onward, there is no Thanos, which means none of that stuff could have unfolded because that Thanos left his time period and he died. But you know what I'm going to choose to do? Ignore that logic because time travel is freaking hard.
It is.
And I'm going to ignore that logic, and instead of calling it a plot hole, I am dubbing it a plot opportunity.
There you go. Plot opportunity.
Like Loki, when he's about to be arrested, taking the cube and disappearing. Now, that probably was undone with Captain America at the end of the movie restoring everything, but it might not have been. That was actually kind of left in the air. Plot hole? I don't think so. Plot opportunity?
Actually, it just hit me. You're right, though, on that. Because the whole time I was saying in the theater, so is Loki alive? Because, he took off with the Tesseract. Well, they even went further back in time. I forgot they went further back.
Yeah, they went back to the 70s with an amazing moment with Tony Stark and his dad to really give his character arc such closure.
Yeah, because him and his dad always had that rocky relationship,
Mm-hmm. And then him to give childhood advice to his dad. Yeah. That was amazing. Like, here's how you raise a kid or whatever. Like, that was cool that he gave his dad that advice on how to be a dad.
I like that, and it was... Because he didn't care so much that his dad died in Civil War. He cared that his mom died.
Yes.
And so he kind of got he got to hear something that he would never have heard from his dad,
Yep.
So it was kind of good for him. It was kind of like that closure, that healing type moment for Tony, which was great.
Yep. So now that we're on Tony and we're talking about his closure, of course we have to talk about the ultimate sacrifice.
So...
I cried. And I don't mean I bawled. I mean I teared up. Because of stupid Spider-Man again. Yep. He got me in the first movie. I don't want to go, Stark. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And then he got me again this time. We won, Stark. We won, Stark. Like, I mean, my gosh. Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. Of all the live-action Spider-Mans, he is my favorite. Because of all the live-action Spider-Mans, he is the only one who could be freaking hilarious and make me cry because I'm laughing, and could literally bring tears to my eyes because of his performance because it was just so sad.
Yeah.
So both times, Spider-Man got me. Okay.
So, for me, it was a long moment. The moment when he saw Thanos there and he runs up and like he hit where Strange goes, or this is the one. I was like, what is he saying? The one. I was like 1 second as it hit me. I was like, oh, and then he knew it too because I think Tony Stark had an idea in his head like, will this work out? And that's when Strange goes.
And it's interesting because he looks at Doctor Strange almost like, will it work if I do this?
Yeah. And soon as like he hit Thanos and like wrestled for a second, and Thanos like drops him back, and Thanos goes, and it didn't work. I was like, and then you see him on Tony, my heart dropped right there because I knew exactly what was about to happen. I was like, I wasn't prepared for it in Infinity War when him and Thanos were going at it, and Thanos stabbed him. I was like, I was trying not to cry at that moment. I was like, no, he's gonna die. I'm not ready for this. Iron Man is the pinnacle of this Marvel cinematic universe. Like, I was not prepared for it. And then when he snapped, I was like, no, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. I was like, there's no way. He's not strong enough to survive this. So I was like fighting back. I had a teardrop. I was like trying to fight. I was like, dang it, man. He's so freaking good. And then the moment that really got me, Spider-Man was a good moment, but Pepper Potts.
Yep.
I was done.
Oh.
Pepper Potts, because it's always been about her.
Especially when she said to him, we'll be fine. Referring to her and their daughter. We'll be fine. You can rest. Oh my gosh. So that combined with Spider-Man was it.
That's it.
Plus, I mean, what a poetic way to close the Infinity Saga. Because all of the MCU began with the Iron Man movie. So, of course, the actual Infinity Saga now comes to an end with the ultimate sacrifice paid by Tony Stark. Hailing all the way back to Avengers when they were all mad because of Loki's scepter. And Captain America says to him, you're not the guy to lay down on the wire and do the game-winning play or the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And now here he was. He was the guy
who did it.
Line. Yeah.
He did it.
Oh. That was a
tough moment. I was like, oh no. He's not coming back.
No.
That was really tough for me. I was done.
Yep. And then Captain America got a good ending. And it was a mixture of like what we thought and what we didn't expect. Because we did theorize he'd go back in time and live out his days. Mm-hmm. Which I was always kind of curious because we know his best girl got married. Because back in the Winter Soldier, there's that video, that interview with her, and she talks about...
He saved over 1,000 men, including the man who would become my husband, as it turned out.
But why would they not tell us who her husband is? Why would they not drop a name?
Yeah.
And it made sense to me that they had to keep it a secret, that he went and lived out his days in the past and spent a life with her.
And I think that's going to mess up the timeline.
Well, plot opportunity, because he just kept it a secret.
I'm not even using it like as a plot opportunity. I really think that's going to be a key to the next phase. Like, you're not supposed to mess with the timeline.
Yeah, he should have just come back.
He should have came back or just disappeared into nothing. Just gone somewhere and hid out and just lived his life as somebody else.
Yeah.
But he specifically went back and married her, altered their timeline together. But
maybe he didn't, though.
Maybe
he didn't. So he could have been behind the camera while she was doing that interview. Yeah. So you're right. It could be something in the future that could be a branch that we were warned against. It could have been a branch that he created. Maybe. But it could also be it's part of the past, that he was always there in the past living out his days because he already lived out his time as a hero and as an Avenger.
So deep.
Deep. Time travel makes things hard.
And... oh boy. But I did like at the end, he handed over the shield.
Yes, to Sam.
The Falcon. That's going to be pretty awesome. I like Falcon as Captain America,
That was a good moment.
And I hope they give him the red, white, and blue with the wings like they do in the comic books because that's pretty sweet.
Giving us a future of the MCU of where it can go from here. Like, that's just so cool.
And I'm assuming Bucky Barnes is going to return to Wakanda. Continue as the White Wolf.
That'd be awesome.
I'm assuming. We don't know.
Let's just hope. Oh, man.
I mean, maybe he stays at the Avengers facility. Well, there's not really one now, but yeah. And another good key moment that we missed was the sacrifice between Clint Barton.
Oh,
Barton,
and Black Widow.
Black Widow.
But you know why we missed it? It's because, like, it was a powerful scene, and I thought it was well done, where soul for a soul to get the Soul Stone, for Clint to get it, somebody had to die, and the fight that they had of who was going to die, like, that was all powerful. But for whatever reason, that didn't get me in the feels as hard as, like, Tony sacrificing himself, or Ant-Man seeing his daughter as an adult, you know? Or not adult, but young adult.
It got me a little bit for the reason of she had red in her ledger.
Yeah.
Paying her final sacrifice type of thing. But I liked it because she wanted to do it, and Clint's like, they're best friends, you know?
Yep.
Like, their son's named after Nathaniel because he's a traitor, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that moment that they fought. Like, that's how devoted they were to fixing all this. Like, one of us is going to do it. Clint was going to sacrifice himself for his family to come back.
Yes.
She wanted to sacrifice herself because this is her family, the Avengers.
Yep, and he can then be with his family.
And then he can then be with his family. So that was like tough, and I actually thought Clint was going to die when he dropped her and he jumped. I was like, oh.
Great tension, though, because I really didn't know between the two of them who was going to do the sacrifice.
And what did he say? We're a long way from Budapest.
Yes.
What happened at Budapest? Somebody tell me. I guess we'll find out. Like,
I bet you it'll be the prequel that they're gonna make somewhere in Phase 4.
And that was the good thing about that, because when they announced the Black Widow movie, I was like, sweet, cool, you know, because I'm totally curious more about her origin. I did not see her dying though.
No.
I did not see this being the end of her. I thought she was gonna survive and help train some of the superheroes or some of the heroes that don't have any abilities. You know? But nope, she's gone.
Yeah.
And she's gone and Vision's gone.
Yeah, and I'm glad they let Vision stay dead, and they let the future version of Gamora stay dead with the 2014 version of Gamora now running around somewhere. I thought that was creative. And then Thor joining the Guardians of the Galaxy, giving the kingship over to Valkyrie, and joining the Guardians. There is way too much to talk about with this movie. We could go on for another hour.
They're referred to as the Asgardians of the Galaxy. Thor's a crack up in this movie.
This is the mix that I wanted in Ragnarok that I didn't get in Ragnarok. He was hysterical in every way in this movie, and he was like some of the lighter parts of it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, his character had some of the heaviest emotional scenes in the movie, and it was done with deepest respect. The balance of that Marvel humor and lightness and comedy with the weight of what was going on. That I loved.
Oh, man. Such a great movie.
Yes.
And I like the little closeout, you know, basically shows Black Panther back in Wakanda. Everybody's like going back to their homes.
And that was kind of cool to kind of just put things in position. We can have a future of the MCU while closing out what began it with an amazing ending.
So now I'm thinking we're going to have, you know, like you said, there's going to be a bunch of prequels, but just a bunch of, you know, individual movies.
Yes.
And then something's going to happen.
We'll get a new Avengers.
And then the new Avengers show up.
Hopefully with Spider-Man. I bet. And I know he'll be in it. He'll be in the new Avengers. What did you think of Endgame? Are you with the Cholo Nerd and I and giving this an A+? Let's talk about that in the comments, because otherwise he and I will talk for hours. Yes. So you join this conversation in the comments and let us know, what did you think of this movie? While you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next movie review, trailer reaction, theological analysis, or anything else going on here. And I'm Durbin.
I'm the Cholo Nerd.
Thanks for checking out Durbania.